If you've been following my journey, you know that I've been biking around Europe for the last year with the goal of visiting Christian churches from many different backgrounds along the way to find out what my Christian family in Europe looks like. In my last video, you watched me send my bike back to Germany, but I still had 2 more stops on this trip before finishing this chapter of my project called Rooted as One. I said goodbye to the boat I stayed on in Porto and hopped on a bus that took me down to Cordoba. I'm about to meet up with Lydia, who I met in Cork in Ireland, and she invited me because she was shortly after moving back to Spain, where she's from, to visit her at the end of my trip, which is what I'm doing now, and I'm so excited to see her again. It was so nice to see Lydia again, and I was blown away by this beautiful city. I honestly had no idea what a popular destination it is and just thought we would meet up here and see her family, but this turned out to be one of my favorite places I saw during this whole trip. I even got to see a group that was practicing for the famous Holy Week processions through the streets of Malaga to commemorate the Passion of Jesus. Let me know in the comments if this is something I should come back to for another video because it looked really interesting. The next day, we drove down to Malaga where Lydia lives, and she and her cousin were so kind to show me around. Malaga is such a beautiful place, and I feel really lucky to have had the best tour guides to show me this beautiful city. I had so much fun with them exploring everything. We are on our way to church. The church's name is Ithea, and I'm really excited. This was the last church I got to visit on this trip, which was really special, and I also got to be a part of the youth group, which I really enjoyed. I feel so lucky that I got to end my trip at Lydia's. She was so sweet and incredibly kind to me, and even let me stay in her apartment for a couple more days until I had to leave, even though she wasn't there anymore. So I used the last days of my trip coming down to this beach to reflect on the last 12 months. When I started into this project, it felt like a very risky experiment. I was so passionate about meeting as many Christians from as many different backgrounds as possible to show that we are connected even if we don't agree on everything. But I had no idea if people would even want me to come visit and learn about their way of practicing their faith. The stakes felt really high on this one, because what if I left for this journey and nobody had welcomed me into their church? But God was with me every step of the way, and even though this trip is one of the most challenging things I've ever done in my life, it was also filled with so many incredibly kind and loving people I met along the way. And I feel like I proved what I set out to do, that no matter where you go, you can always find people who will treat you like family because you have that connection in Jesus in common. And I hope that getting to know these amazing people and places inspired you, just like me, to keep exploring this beautiful Christian family we get to be a part of and pray for each other. Because how can we care for each other if we don't know much about each other? All of my stuff is packed, so now for the last time, I'm leaving an apartment that I stayed in during this 1-year-long trip. Like I said, the journey is not over yet, but this chapter is closing and it feels really weird, but I am so excited to see my friends and family at home. So let's go to the airport. And that's how I got back home to Germany, where I am right now. And it leads me to the big question, how this project is gonna go on. What I can say is that it definitely will keep going. I want to keep visiting churches and Christians all over the world to kind of show that we are one family. Even though we have so many differences, we are connected, and we can feel that connection if we go visit each other and pray for each other. And I'm so excited and hope that you will be along for the ride, so don't forget to subscribe. The only difference is that I will not be constantly traveling anymore. It was just a lot for me physically and mentally, and I realized that I need to come really home to Germany to recharge every once in a while. So I will go to a destination, film the video, and then come back home. So that also opens up the world a little bit, so I can be in places outside of Europe. So I'm really excited. There are some plans, but I would definitely love to hear from you if you have any ideas where I should go next. I probably won't be able to publish a video every week, but hopefully every other Thursday. So stay tuned and come along for the ride.